States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to close this real quick and go to the public hearing for the preliminary county budget. Is there any comment on the preliminary budget?
Do you have what it's looking like?
What's that?
Do you have a sheet, what it's looking like?
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't get one that, I didn't get an email on it.
Which one do you want?
I just wanna see what mine looks like, so if
Did
it's
you
just.
send, Debbie, did you send everybody the preliminary budget? Just information?
They should have access to stuff in their
Okay.
reporting.
Well, nothing's changed that I know of since, this was when it was all submitted, it's all the same.
Same way.
Yeah.
Is there any other public comment? Questions?
Is this available to us online?
I believe that, I don't believe it's upstairs, but I don't believe it's available online, is it?
Okay, okay.
Is there there's a copy upstairs?
There's a book in the clerk recorder's office that's got it all in there.
And it's been there for how long, Deb?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks and 3 days.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's no other public comment, then we will here close the public hearing, move on to the decision to adopt the final preliminary county budget resolution. Preliminary budget approval, whereas section 7640214 MCA states the governing body shall cause a notice of a public hearing on a preliminary budget to be published. The governing body has completed its preliminary budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. Preliminary budget is on file and open for inspection in the clerk and recorder's office or the commissioner's office. A public hearing was held on July 15, 2019 at 10 a.m. in the commissioner's meeting room located in the basement of the Broadwater County Courthouse. Any taxpayer or resident can attend the meeting and express their opinions for or against any part of the preliminary budget. The governing body wants it noted that regardless of the total revenue expenditure listed, that these amounts are a preliminary request only. They can and are subject to change before the final hearing is held to adopt a final budget for the fiscal year. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that Broadwater County is making the following preliminary annual operating budget, taking into account that in order to preserve the present level of services to the county, intends to budget a revenue increase from total property taxation by 3%. This is the increase that is allowed by state statute 1510-420 for half of past inflation. All the tax revenue authorized but not levied in the prior year and group benefits premium increases. Motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the preliminary budget.
And I'll second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question. Is the final budget going to be approved on August 19th? Is that what my notes?
Somewhere in there,
Okay,
like
okay.
27 different rhymes and reasons for
Yeah.
the magic date. I don't know.
Okay.
Third Tuesday after the fourth Monday, the eighth Wednesday. So yes, whatever that day is from the magic day, yes.
Right.
So until then, there's still, anything, this stuff's still preliminary, so.
It's 30 days from when we get our valuations. Last year they were a week early, this year they could be right on time, which was supposed to be the first
Okay.
Tuesday. So then the clock starts within 30 days, whichever those dates be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we'll open up to public comment if anybody has any public comment on an item not on the agenda. Greg?
Mr. Chairman, I would once again like to request that the audio-video system be upgraded for the county so that the citizens of Broadwater can listen to these meetings and be updated as we are inside of these meetings, for those who can't attend. This is an ongoing issue that's been going on for many years and been requested many years now. If we could come to a swift resolution of that, get some good, decent equipment in here. I mean, don't even need, television equipment, just something better than what we have. You cannot hear anything. I don't know if anybody has tried to access those, but you specifically cannot hear just because of the tone of your voice and the level of the recording. It's like listening, it's like watching a video of you three for an hour and maybe a couple of words you can catch, but definitely not the overall agenda. And I think that's very important right now, that the public is able to hear the county's agenda and be able to view it and review it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Dwayne?
Yeah, or Mr. Chair, I'd like to know how long it's gonna take you guys to bankrupt the county.
You don't have an answer for that one. Anyone else? Joe?
I requested a couple weeks ago for for me to be put on the agenda. I got an email from he said that somebody got a hold of him, but one of my girlfriends, Cindy, is helping me with this, because I'm not a politician. I submitted a letter asking to be put on the June 22nd agenda, and Mr. Vogford emailed, I got a hold of his email. I went upstairs to talk to Michelle Beebe to submit my request, and I had to say in certain wording. So I have submitted an email, and I would like a answer back on that to be put on the 22nd agenda.
Okay.
You want me to address that, Mike?
Yes, go ahead.
Joe, I think that it's probably more appropriate if you do this presentation for the solid waste board. And their meeting is the 25th at 7 p.m. And if you do that there, then whatever recommendations come from that board, then we'll consider.
Okay, but it's not just about the solid waste. That is one of many points of high interest in the county right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, this was kind of an accumulation of 5 different items that I think the citizens need to be aware of, that you guys are aware of, that you're not being real transparent with us. You have your closed door meetings, and then all of a sudden you 3 come out and do a gavel, and we're kind of stuck with your answers. So I'd like to address some of that, the accountability of the board, transparency of the board. But yeah, I'll go over there to the city and talk about the dump, because, yeah, that's...
Yeah, the solid waste meets here, so it'll be at 7 on the 25th.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. Thank you.
Any other comment? Okay, let's see, we'll go to,
You know what?
yes, Craig.
I would also like to, is there public information available on the public waste program? Is there a kind of a, I don't know, like a budget or a kind of an evaluation that was done? To my understanding, it's kind of that the changes were made based upon the safety and then on some other budgeting problems. Is there a way that is that available for public so that I can view that, or that we can view that? 'Cause I'd really like to see that information.
Mary would have most of that information.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll go on to...
I got one comment.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'm gonna ask you guys this question. If we go forward and spend some money on upgrading the audio and video equipment here, how much pushback are we gonna get? Anybody gonna complain about it?
I won't push back on it.
We've been asking this for
You guys-
3
you guys
years.
just
I mean,
need
seriously, every time
y'all
we do
need just some microphones.
just listen, you guys. It's like every time we wanna do something, then somebody shows up and makes a comment that we're wasting the county's money. So I mean, I wanna know ahead of time, we go forward with this project, are we gonna get a bunch of pushback on it? I mean, just let me know. I'm asking a simple
How
question.
about talk
This-
louder?
This is not a democracy. You guys are in charge. You guys make the decisions. We ask you to make those decisions. That's how it works. So we ask you, upgrade the audio. You either do, you don't. That's how it works. We ask you to do things, you do or you don't. And whether you are the people doing that or another person is in your position, that's just how it works. So you don't need to ask us to do things, you just do it. And if you don't agree with what we're asking, just simply say, no, we don't agree.
I'll remember that.
Absolutely. This is a government, should be cut and dry. This is not a for public debate on whether or not we should get equipment.
Moving on.
Okay. So we have minutes from June 26th and July 8th.
I'll move through the minutes from June 26th and July.
I'll second. Motion been made and second to approve minutes from June 26th and July 28th. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same. Aye. Carried. We have mail here from the Department of the Interior. Oil and gas leases for the North Central Montana District. Procurement success, cobblestone software. Payment from the Family Medical Clinic for lease on double wide. Typical mail, we have claims. Payroll claims in the amount of $174,360.32.
I'll move to pay payroll claims on 7 minutes.
Second the motion. Motion been made and second to pay claims and set amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Claims the amount of $109,138.30.
I'll move to approve the payroll claims on 7 minutes.
Motion, I'll second the motion. Motion been made and second to pay claims and set amount. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Carries. Okay, we'll go on to 10:45, Virtual Binkley Chair Trust Board, County lease with Old Baldy Golf Course, Broader Rod Gun Club, WWC Engineering Contract, and work order to develop Fairgrounds Master Plan. Okay, Virgil.
Okay, we sent you the unsolicited proposal for the development of the land at the fairgrounds. And the trust board recommended the commission move forward. The one for the lease for the gun club, the gun club is prepared to sign when the lease is ready. And the deadline to keep things moving with the land transfer, this has to be done by August, through the end of August. So
The end of August.
I think that's, as I remember, that's the case. The other was Mia resigned and is not going to finish. And we forwarded her recommendation also that we try to get Peter Simon to do the closing on the land transfer.
Okay.
That's the best help we can give you at the moment, because we're kind of finding someone that would have time to go through and fill all the holes and make sure that the report is submitted correctly.
So we forwarded these did you get my email with these contracts on them?
Was that this morning, or it was?
I just sent
saw
it to you this morning, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw it.
So we'll have to have those reviewed.
Right.
There was a question on insurance, Virgil, and I don't know who we, I guess we have to go to our insurance agent and see if there's any kind of a crossover on that for the Rod and Gun Club.
If there's a crossover where the county can do the insurance and then the extra cost, if that happens to occur, then the gun club would be willing to pick that cost up, which would be less probably than we get it on the open market.
Okay.
So in the event that that's not workable, then we'll go to our engineering source and we will upgrade the Canton Lane property to 2 million as well as the Indian Creek, so they're both the same.
Okay. So would you be looking for our insurance to carry the Indian Creek also?
If that would work out. See, the problem that we're dealing with at the moment, and the issue we have is, we have a straight land contract with the Commission of Broadwater County for the Indian Creek. The Canton Lane is a concessionaire, which is a little bit different. So we're gonna have to approach our insurance, our private insurance, and make sure that they understand that we have two separate rental agreements, so that they are, if something happens, then we're covered technically. So that's kind of what, as soon as that lease is signed, we'll start taking a look, and then if the county can come through. The problem that we have with those two pieces of ground, they're double insured. The golf course is the same. You folks carry insurance liability and this sort of thing on it as county property. And we also carry the same insurance. So I think that was explained to me some time ago.
So would that also be, is there someone here representing the golf course?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Would that also work to have that same policy, so that we're not double insured out there?
If you could fold the whole thing together, it would be great. See,
Okay.
that way you'd have one insurance, there'd be one insurance policy for all three pieces of property.
Okay.
That would simplify it for you guys, so it's,
Okay. Who's your lease with that Indian Creek, BOR, BLM?
oh, it's with the Broadwater County. See, the Indian Creek property was transferred to Broadwater County
Oh,
15
okay,
or 20 years ago, so it's county property.
okay,
And that was transferred from the BLM, not the BOR.
okay. Okay. So then the contract with WWC for the fairgrounds. Was Sean gonna be here, or I thought he was,
I want to.
I thought he was gonna be here too.
I thought he was going?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have not heard otherwise.
Well, this wasn't on the agenda, it's 10:45.
We can wait.
What's that?
You can wait.
Okay, so let's go on to the, are you ready, Nicole? Okay, so we'll go on to the 11 o'clock, Nicole Brown Community Development Planning Certificate of Survey Review Procedure Review Committee.
So this is the revised COS review procedure based on our conversations the last couple of weeks.
I'm leaving before I get thrown in jail.
Yeah, you got 45 minutes.
Isn't there some languages for the committee?
I did not put together language for the committee. I did, based on our last conversation, the planner, the sanitarian, and the county attorney would be the committee, and we would send it electronically.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted something in there. I didn't understand that. I thought that was.
So do we need to have that in writing, so that they know that it's gonna be reviewed by a committee? I don't know.
If you want me to call out on this document who the review committee is, or does it need to be that formal, because if we determine that
Okay.
maybe we need to pull in solid waste, then we want, or I'm sorry, public works, do we go and amend this form?
So we're just going to create the committee and notify them?
So essentially, the only new person on the committee is the county attorney.
Right.
You know, because currently it's myself and the sanitarian.
Okay.
And so these will just be electronic documents that, when I send them off to the sanitarian, I'll also copy your county attorney.
So Corey, are we okay with just creating the committee?
Say again?
Are we okay with just creating this review committee?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen whatever you're looking at there.
So it's just the review procedure for COSs. Previously, the committee consisted of myself and the sanitarian, and I use that term loosely, committee, you know, we're the only ones that reviewed it, but
The idea was is that we'd have a chance to review it before we had to come down here and make a decision
correct.
and get more input on that.
And then we would make our recommendation to the commissioners.
Is there's no MACO code as far as timeline on the review, on the committee's review time?
You know, we like to stick to 10 days for the examining land surveyor, so I would like, in theory, 10 days I think is an acceptable amount of time. 2 working weeks. But no, there's nothing in the CA that states it has to be a certain amount of time. And the reason for, based on last week's meeting, the reason for electronic was, obviously everyone is very busy, to think of sitting down at a table once a week, once every couple of weeks. Realistically, it would be more like once every month. We don't really want to be holding up these COSs for that long, so we can do them electronically and just make comments.
Sure.
And then I can compile those comments and give them to you when the COSs are presented.
Yeah, I thought what we talked about was that if there were any, if it's just a normal recording of a survey, that basically you could proceed. If it was something that was unusual, then, well, I think it came up in the context of family transfers, but for, probably for subdivisions. Stuff involving ditches and easements involving other property, something like that. I thought that's what you were gonna bring to the committee.
Right, but I don't wanna be the one that makes that determination of what's unusual.
Okay.
And so that's why my thought, my recommendation at that meeting was to send all of them, and if you have no comments, you have no comments, you know, somebody say, looks great, no comment. I don't wanna be the gatekeeper of what's usual and unusual.
And then did Bernadette tell us that they do this in Gallatin County?
Correct.
And were you gonna get the Gallatin County stuff?
I was not, no, I was just going to stick with our procedure.
Okay.
I didn't wanna overcomplicate the process.
I thought we talked about
But I
getting
can.
out stuff to look at it, see what they do.
Okay.
Did we talk about that?
I don't know if we, I don't know. I thought we were, my understanding was we were going to stick with this and just tweak it a little to add this review committee as opposed to just the sanitarian.
Well, the one thing we talked about also is that if a committee is meeting, that would be a public meeting.
And that's why electronically would be better, and, you know, because what I do now, the surveyor sends me electronic documents and a paper copy, the paper copy goes to the examining land surveyor, I send the electronic copy on to the sanitarian, he provides me with his comments, so in my brain, I'm envisioning something similar, I'll send it to the sanitarian, send it to you, if you have comments, you send those to me.
Okay. And if we decide we need to get together, then we'll post it as a public meeting and do it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we need to at least
Okay.
maintain the possibility that we would need a meeting. Obviously, it'll be those unusual cases.
Okay.
So we want to adopt this as our official policy for certificate of survey review procedures.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good the way it is, and we know what we're gonna do as a committee. And that's a good way to proceed for right now. Yeah, so I'll move that we adopt this review of the certificates, survey review procedure.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Opposed, same. Carries.
Thank you.
Corey, you want to go ahead with your request for prosecution assistance?
Yeah, is that, am I early on that? Okay, so yeah, because I've got to go to a meeting in DEQ this afternoon on another case, so what I've provided to the commissioners, I think we have a,
Do you have a copy, Corey? I don't have a copy.
Here, I got it.
you want me to make copies, or?
You wanna-
Well, I don't need it, I can explain briefly. So, there's a new prosecutor at Department of Justice who got a grant to specifically go after non-compliant sex offender registration. And I happen to have several of those cases, and she's never done a trial. And so I said, hey, I just filed one, why don't you come down to Townsend, do a trial with me, get some experience on it. And so that's what it is, her name's Madison Mattioli. And this is your authorization so she can come down and go through a trial on one of these cases. So
Okay,
basically,
and it's just this specific case that's listed here, right?
State versus Justin Jennings.
Yeah, good.
I have like 4 of them, but this is the only one that I think has a likelihood of going to trial.
All right, good enough. So budget-wise, your budget can,
No cost to us at all. She will, possibly, if there's some travel, it'd be from Helena to Townsend, it'd be very, very minimal. I'll check on that. What's it say on the bottom? Because whatever it says is the DOJ.
In terms of this
policy.
agreement, no fee will be charged for attorney time provided by the special prosecutor. In these cases, mileage will be paid at the current state rate. Witness fees, expenses, jury costs, and other normal costs associated with the trials will be the county's responsibilities as with all other prosecutions.
Yeah, and so that, those are our costs anyway, on whether she's there or not. So we might have to pay a little bit of her mileage to come down for a couple of hearings.
Okay.
It'd be, I can think of 2 or 3 hearings is all, but it's to Townsend, so it'd be free. It might be that they don't charge any because she'd be traveling for all her cases anyway, because she wouldn't be doing these in Helena, they've got a big shop there. But, that's it, basically help them out by giving her a chance to do a first trial on, right out of the gate.
Sure.
Okay. So do we need to read this off?
Your case, they pretty well explained it, but it's up to you to read it over.
Okay, well, this is a prosecutional assist authorization, whereas the Broadway County Attorney has requested prosecutional assistance from the Montana Attorney General's office in the case of the State of Montana versus Justice Jennings, case number DDC 201914, whereas it is desired indeed appropriate that a special deputy county attorney be appointed to assist in the prosecution of the aforementioned case, and whereas Montana Code annotated 742705 authorizes the Board of County Commissioners to employ special counsel to assist in the prosecution of such criminal case pending in the county on the request of the county attorney. And whereas Madison Matolio, Assistant Attorney General, has agreed to act as a special deputy Broadwater County attorney in pending cause thereof, therefore it is hereby authorized that Madison Matolio shall be appointed as special deputy county attorney for Broadwater County for the purpose of assisting in the prosecution of pending causes, and that she can fulfill the functions set out in Montana Code annotated 444103. It is further authorized under the terms of this agreement, no fee will be charged for attorney time provided by the special prosecutor of these cases. Bonds will be paid at the current state rates. Witness fees and expenses, jury costs, and other normal costs associated with the trial will be the county's responsibility, as with all other prosecutions. So this is strictly for this case, right, Corey?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this authorization?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the prosecutorial assistance authorization.
I'll second the motion. Motion been made and seconded to approve the prosecution assistance authorization. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Do you want this filed as a resolution? That's what has been done with these in the past.
I would,
No?
It doesn't have to be a resolution. I looked that up because I noticed we'd done that in the past,
Mhm.
and I looked it up, and it doesn't require a resolution. It just
Okay, so
requires
you don't
a,
need anything recorded in my office
Nope.
then? Okay,
I just have to,
clarification.
what we usually do is we file that
Mhm.
in the court, so the judge sees it.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I'll just come get a copy and Sherry will later. Thanks.
He just told me to go to there, so I still want on the agenda.
there's Sean there. Okay, we will go back to the trust board and the WWC contract for the master plan for the fairgrounds.
Mm.
Sean, could you give us an update on, basically run through this proposal real quick?
You bet, absolutely. So, what I proposed to the trust board, and actually, I've got 2 copies of everything right here for you guys. is to prepare a master plan for the fairgrounds. What that would consist of is a long list of items under the proposed scope of work, which would include defining the visions and goals for future operations, define groups who would use or use the facility and interview them to identify their needs, extensive coordination with the county, city trust board, and all the users who do use and would use the facility. Mapping to show the existing fairgrounds layouts, conceptual options for expansion and further development. Evaluation of existing proposed events and the ability of those existing facilities to accommodate those events and future events. Review and summary of the existing facilities, attributes of the facilities, condition of each facility, ability to expand each facility, and capacity of each facility. Evaluation of existing site constraints such as like utilities, property boundaries, airport restrictions, such. Conceptual drawings, costs, and timelines for the construction of new community center and or renovation of an existing facility to accommodate that purpose. Basically events for up to about 500 people. Evaluation and proposal for expansion of the existing grandstands with cost estimates, traffic and parking evaluations, and conceptual options for traffic and parking. Campground evaluation. Map of approximate location of existing utilities, the water and sewer evaluation of proposed options, stormwater and drainage, identify any environmental concerns out there, and then basically we would propose 2 public meetings, 1 public input session at the beginning to get everybody's input on what they think should happen out there, and then of course we would have all the subsequent interviews after that, and then follow up near the end with a public review session just to make sure that we covered everything and there wasn't anything that we missed. As far as schedule, we would propose to start that immediately and get it completed by about the middle of December. And the proposed cost is $48,000. I think that summarizes everything as best I can. And per the trust board meeting, they did want to add a conceptual bike path location from the city up to the fairgrounds, which we would include. And then look at potentially adding another public meeting, which would probably be about another $1,500 if that was to be added. That's something I think we can assess if we decide to get going.
So that's just for the bike path?
What?
If you include the bike path?
No, that, I just said I'd throw that in.
Okay, so what's the extra 1,500?
That would be for an additional public meeting,
Oh,
if we were to hold one.
Sean, has there been meetings on this already?
As far as I know, no, I think there was a survey that was completed by the rec board. But no, as far as I know, and maybe the trust board could answer that more, but I haven't done anything on that yet.
Okay. That was why I'm gonna take off my sheriff hat, put on my
Sure.
rodeo president hat.
Go for it.
And because the fact is, we have a lease on that, and on that, it indicates what buildings and structures belong to the rodeo association.
Right.
So, I wanna make sure that, one, I love when I see things about public safety, and I'm hoping that somewhere, if we're gonna have a conversation about public safety, someone's gonna come talk to me as sheriff. But if we're gonna talk about grandstands, which are property of the rodeo association, somebody's gonna come talk to the rodeo board and say.
Absolutely, and that's
Okay.
part of that, everybody who's using the facility or would use the facility, obviously you guys play a large role in that. So I would say, yeah, we'd probably be talking multiple times throughout this process to make sure we're covering what you guys want to see and what you don't wanna see and how that is gonna look.
I think, and that's this is a good time to bring up, you've identified some of the people you think you're gonna have to talk to, right?
Yes.
Okay, can you just kind of go ahead and list them out so everybody knows who?
Yeah, and so, I know the rec board has a list of the people who are using, but, obviously the rodeo club is first and foremost. We identified, and I can't think of all the people in there particularly, but all the ag users that are currently using, I think, doesn't the
So that's kind of 4-H folks you're talking?
Yeah, the 4-H folks. I think they hold like, I can't remember what banquet Steve McCullough was saying, but like the Rod and Gun Club, I think does something out there. And so there's gonna be a lot of users. And I know that they have that full list, and I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to answer that question fully, but they do have a list of people that actually, they have to sign up. And so we'll start with that list. And then we'll talk to all those people, which will probably lead to more people that we need to visit with, I'm sure.
Good enough. If this is approved, are you planning to do anything here with the upcoming fair?
Yeah, actually, so one of the ideas by the rec board was to put some drop boxes with postcards out throughout the fair, and just get people's input while they're right there using the facility. So I imagine we would do that, get those done, get those printed, work with the commission and the trust board, rodeo club, whoever, to get kind of, here's a list of questions that are the basic components of what we need to see, and get those printed and get them out there for the fair.
All right.
I think that's a huge deal. We need to get that done.
Yeah. So Lynn, with your rodeo hat on there, you think that the folks in the rodeo association are interested in a master plan and in
Well, I
including
think
our
that, I
fairgrounds?
mean, this is something that kinda got thrown at us. We just met on the 11th, is that right, Lisa? And we didn't hear anything about this. And then, so on Tuesday, then I hear about this, and it was like, I'll be honest, our feathers were ruffled, because that rodeo association's been around since 1952. And all that equipment, those grandstands, those buildings have been built and mostly financed by the farmers and ranchers of this community over the last 57 years. So without having some opinion into that, we're kind of like, what the hell's going on, So, I don't necessarily think that anybody's completely against it. We want to have a voice at the table, I think is a big part of it.
Absolutely.
And not get away from the tradition of what a small community rodeo event is. I mean, it doesn't matter what we do, this will never be Lewis and Clark County in any form or fashion.
No.
This is, and so, yeah, we hope not. But we're not gonna have a big room, we're not gonna have a PRC arena and all that wonderful stuff that they have. But we understand that there's things that we'd like to try to do. And one of the topics is, obviously, is how do we replace an old grandstands? Roof on the grandstands is great. Grandstands, yeah, they've been around a long time.
They're looking a little shabby. Yeah.
We understand that, and we work on them every year to try to keep them going.
Sure.
And there's things, but the same breath of that, we don't want to, lose our interest in what everybody before us has done. We're the I guess the gatekeepers of what that rodeo has evolved into, and there's a lot of people here that have a lot of history, and if you get out on the rodeo, especially on Slack Day, you get all those farmers and ranchers who started that process back in the day, and they're back there telling you how everything got done. And so we don't want to lose that. That's part of our tradition. That's part of what that rodeo's become. So, unless Lisa, who's our liaison between the fair and rodeo, has a different opinion, her parents were founding members of the rodeo. So she comes back from a long history of it. So, and that's really kind of where we're at. We understand that things need to be upgraded, and there's things that we're going, how can we upgrade and where can we go? We need to be sitting at the table having those conversations. So.
Well, I think, from the get-go, that's come up, at least with my conversations with the trust board, that you guys are gonna be a key player, so.
Yeah. And I think in all the meetings I've sat in it as well, that
Yeah.
definitely that was the intention of all this, to make sure that we bring everybody together.
And it is, I mean, our rodeo nights have gotten very large, and, our Tough Enough to Wear Pink night became it's a standing room only event, and so we understand the parking, trying to get contestants in, so they can park, somewhere, but there's so many people there, and we understand that. So I don't think, Lisa, you're disagreeing?
Oh, no,
Okay.
you're
So,
on target, go for it.
We just need to, we've looked at trying to, how do we expand parking, how do we make things more fluent, but, you know, we had an issue where somebody, had a medical condition, or medical incident, and we couldn't get the ambulance to them close enough, you know, and that's something that we recognize is how do we eliminate those problems? We need to have those, get those emergency services in there, quicker than what happens, so, I don't think we're against it, we just need to work together and make sure it works, so.
That would definitely be the plan, Wayne.
Okay. And you can always talk to me about the safety stuff from the sheriff's side later, so.
You have a copy of this, I assume.
I do.
Debbie, you hand that to the sheriff?
Jason?
I guess, question for Sean, you know, you mentioned the question boxes, but would
Yes.
you or somebody physically be able to be at the fair? Because I think seeing it all firsthand would be, you know, extremely important as you
Yes.
start to draft.
Absolutely.
I feel
Yeah, the
kind of
parking flow and how people use the facility, yeah, that's,
I feel kind of responsible for starting this whole thing because I started it looking to add one little sale barn
sure.
to our 4-H situation, and this is where it's kind of all dwarfed into. So, good or bad, I have decided, I haven't been chased down and beat up in the alley. I have a feeling that may come.
I got a couple weeks still.
What's that?
Still got a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. But that I think is key as you start to draw all this up,
Sure.
to be there, you know, that weekend and really see
Yeah,
firsthand.
that is the plan,
what-
yeah.
You know, why we, you know, why I started asking the questions that I did, that has
Yeah.
morphed into what we have.
And I've been there before, I just haven't
Okay.
been there with that set of eyes on, so I think it's important to be there and just kinda see how things are, how people are using it, really, that's the important part.
So, Virgil, the trust board, everybody's,
Can I move forward?
you can, come on up.
I'm kind of sorry my super hearing aids, not as super as I'd like for them to be.
We both suffer from being around helicopters our lives, right?
I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah, it takes its toll.
Forget.
So yeah, I know that I was at the trust board when you guys discussed this. Everybody still agrees that this is a way to go forward.
Right, well, it's a response to the survey that the put out.
Right.
So, things are moving forward. I would say the speed is about right.
I know in regards to that survey that the rec board did, that the fairgrounds, 4-H, and those were all high priorities of what
Right.
folks wanted to see for their community.
Right. It's, I have to give the rec board a heavy duty on that. It's, we've been asking, the trust board has been asking for something like that since we, put the Broadwater Bay in. So it's very welcome from our point of view.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, if you wanna move forward, send us a request to agree, so we're both on the same page, liberating the funds out of the trust to do it. Okay? So, all I can say is, we're gonna have more paper in the trail, as we move forward than we probably have in the past, so it's, you can expect more paperwork from us and probably in return also.
So Sean, this is actually just a work order in regards to the contract that you already have with
Yep.
Broadwater County. correct?
There's an extension there too, so what that does is that extends us out through 2020, which is the extent of the 7-year solicitation that you can go. And then a work order which would be in accordance with our original agreement. That way it's much more simple.
Sure. are you gonna make your reports to the trust board or commission, what's your plan? As you move through your schedule?
I would say that the reports would need to go to both,
Okay.
at least in my estimation of that,
Mm-hmm.
just because of that relationship.
Okay.
And so that's how I would propose to do that.
All right, very good. Any questions from you, Corey?
No, so the fair board is a sub-board in the county.
Okay.
I'm assuming they're included in folks you're gonna engage right away?
Yes.
Is there anybody else, like major players? You got the rodeo board, the fair board,
4-H council.
4-H
Yeah.
council. Is there anybody else that really jumps out at us that,
City and county both will be involved in those talks.
okay?
I have one question. Does the county responsible for all the property, or is part of it county and part of it city? I've heard both issues.
According to cadastral,
It's a great question.
according to cadastral, it's mixed.
It's owned by.
And so they're both, depending on which parcel it looks to me like.
Our lease is signed by the city and by the county. so.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
The
a heads
gift
up,
that keeps on giving.
I'm sure the city's involved.
Exactly, yeah. And we have our mayor here, so. Any questions from you, Mike, on moving
Well,
forward with this?
Probably a few.
Okay.
Number one, they were talking about some other property the city's got up there, wanting to do something with that. And, I haven't talked to the council or anybody yet. I just got a letter Friday, I think. And we're possibly gonna be using that for if we ever have another snow year. So I don't know what all they're planning on doing, but I'm sure we'd look at it.
But you'll definitely be sitting at the table, Mike, so.
Huh?
You'll definitely be sitting at the table throughout that discussion.
So that's all right by me.
All right, very good. Well, I can have all my questions answered. I don't know, do you have any more?
No, I don't have any other. So is there a motion to approve the service agreement for professional services between Broadwater County and WWC Engineering?
Oh, so,
I will second. Is there any further public comment? Tim?
Just a real quick question for clarification. If I understand right, the contractor's gonna go for $45K and with a possible $1,500 additional, but that has not been approved, correct?
That's correct.
yeah.
And that might come later, or,
That would only be if an additional public meeting is needed.
okay. I just wanted to make sure
At
that
this
wasn't,
point in-
I didn't miss moving
Not
forward.
included yet, no, only if it's necessary.
Thank you.
And Sean, is the contract for 48,000?
48,000.
Not-
Oh, I'm sorry, 48. It's hard to hear back here.
Okay.
Any further discussions? All in favor? Motion's been made to approve the service agreement between WWC and Broadwater Trust. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
You wanted one for yourself, right?
Yeah,
You
I
wanna do sign
brought
both of these?
two, if you guys wanna sign both, I'll sign both, and then you keep one, I'll take one, and
Right.
we'll be set.
Okay.
Can I ask for a copy of that for the trust board records?
Yes.
I'll make one.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, I'm excited. I hope it works out as we all plan. I know it's gonna take some coordinating between all the different people involved, but I think we can do it. and I'm excited for the future of our community.
So, Mr. Chairman, once I get a copy of that, I'll do a claim, I guess, to transfer the money.
Yeah, and
Right.
it said in there you're gonna bill monthly, is that Sean, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you'll be getting monthly statements.
Okay.
Yeah, if the commission would send us a request, so, and then we'll move it back to you as quickly as we can.
A request to move forward, is that what you're asking for, Virgil?
Yes.
And Sean, when you get your little postcard things, give us a call. 'Cause we got a couple different spots there, we could probably put something, like a concession stand or the ticket booth or something. Yeah, put those in, and I'm sure Jason or Lisa, Val, was Val here?
She was.
She, I think, was Val going with the vendors?
Yes.
So even Val Horsfield, she goes with the vendors for the fair, so, they might have some locations that are good spots to put those, to get
Right.
attention to them, so.
Yeah, all we need is just a little card holder and a drop box to put them in, so.
I would say the beer garden, but you might.
You might get some interesting comments.
You might get some interesting comments. So,
Hey, why not? We'll mark those as special consideration.
Are you gonna be the contact for the 4-H end of things? Yeah, you wanna,
You
Offer
should
yourself
probably
up.
do Allison, to
Allison?
be technically correct.
Okay,
She'll
she'll work with you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
She's the extension agent, the head of the 4-H. I'm just the chair of the livestock portion of that.
Okay.
She would probably be the politically correct one.
Okay, no, thank you, Corey. Go to our 11:30, Jessica Bushnell, weed coordinator, select spray bids.
Thank you, Virgil.
We're all set for tomorrow.
We'll be all there.
Okay.
schedule a meeting.
So have you worked with these?
I am familiar with all of them. I've worked with two of them extensively.
Do you off your heads have the totals for each one by any chance?
No, so that's, yeah, just broken down by road section. And so how the contract has worked in the past is that, they go out and spray a chunk of road and they invoice us for that chunk. And it's not ever been the full amount of the bid.
Okay.
Cause our contract with the DOT is for 18,000, it spans a fiscal year. So,
These are all DOT roads?
mhm.
Okay. Is the low guy here, have you worked with him?
Yes, that one is the one who has done the road work in the past.
Oh, okay.
You've been happy with this performance?
Yes, and highly responsive. You call and say, I see a weed here, he's out with his crew, taking care of it. I think the reason for his quote is most accurate because he's so familiar with the project.
Sure. fairly local, so his responses
Yeah.
can be fairly quick as well.
Yep, all of the B and C are both located in Helena. A is located in, Clearwater.
Oh, okay, up by the junction?
And all of them have crews big enough to handle the project. They're fully staffed. So,
Wow, there's an amazing difference.
yeah, I think it has to do with just familiarity with the.
Is this what he generally comes in at most of the time?
Yeah, so, he's always been very accurate, very, well within the DOT budget. He's never gone over there.
Have these other two bid before, or?
Yes, so they have been in the past.
So what happens, Jessica, say something else comes up, can you still use the same contractor for some other work if we have a contract signed?
So this contract,
Or is it just specific to this
this
stuff?
is just specific for roads.
For these roads here?
And so if other contracts come up, like through the Forest Service or the BLM,
Right.
they, designate their desired contract representative, and they,
Okay.
so all of these guys have done work, in the county for various agencies. So it doesn't bind us to use them for all of our projects, just our DOT roads.
I guess I was just thinking it was an option that you could use. Okay.
And the contract is for 2 years now.
Oh, this is 2 years.
Well, so this would be good for this summer and next summer?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is this discussion only concerning DOT highway roads? Or is this county roads, highway roads, everything?
It's only DOT roads,
Which is a highway, correct?
yes.
Okay.
So is there a motion on one or the other here? Or?
Well, I guess, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation would be B.
I guess based on Jessica's recommendation and what we see here as far as for cost, and Jessica's had experience with this vendor before, I would move that we go with vendor B.
I'll second the motion. Motion's been made and seconded to go with contractor B for the state highway bids. Sweet Spring, any further discussion? Tim?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, could you folks just do me a favor and give a summary of what this contract is going to be as far as value, as far as term, as far as other, I mean, if I could maybe just get a copy of what you were looking at, that would maybe be helpful as well.
You wanna talk about it,
Sure.
Jessica?
So this contract, the DOT gives all the counties a set amount of funding to spray for roadside weed control. So this contract comes from the DOT, they give us a set amount of money every year, and then we contract out our roadside spray. So this contract would be for 2 years for all of the state highways that are in the county.
Okay, thank you. The value of that contract that you're agreeing to
So the fiscal year amount is $18,000
per year?
per year.
Okay.
That comes directly from the DOT.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thanks, Jessica.
Is there anything else? Bring forward or not?
I don't. I guess other than maybe small commissioners update, I did go to the emergency services meeting down on the south end of the county on Friday. They were happy that our meeting on the south end was well received as far as for emergency services building proposal, and we didn't really talk anything else about as far as because really it's kind of was pretty much was centered around that. Now that could go forward. We did discuss the bike area down there on Copper City Road just a little bit. And most of those discussions were centered around the coordination with BLM and the events that are going to be planned there in the future. And really that is pretty much about it. Everybody's kind of trying to put together a vision for what they would like to see that building be and what the needs would be. I think that's kind of where we're going forward with that portion. So, yeah.
Let's see, I attended the hospital meeting with Sanford Health out of South Dakota. They are, I believe everyone is supposed to have a proposal into the hospital board by the 25th of July. There's Sanford Health, Billings Clinic, and St. Pete's Hospital are involved in that. Met with the Petroleum Board, MBAC, and Brownsfield people on the progress of removal of the Grover Ambulance Building. The Petro Board has a hearing August 26th that they are gonna make a final decision on that project. Probably not gonna see that project get started until September at the earliest, late September. And then we attended the meeting at the south end of the county. I thought that went pretty well for a group. We had a good group of people. We're probably gonna have to start doing that at least once quarterly, I would think, would be a good idea.
That reminds me, Ed, did you see the sign-in sheet? Did you take that or did Nicole take that?
I have.
Do you have that? Do you have an idea how many folks were there? Was there?
Filled up all of one sheet and most of another one, and then I'm not sure that everybody signed it.
Yeah. I would estimate
There was
80 to 100 people.
Yeah, because there were 70 just in the sit-down chairs, plus all the people up in that area.
Yeah, so there was
Pretty
quite a
close
few
to
people
100.
never signed it.
That was a very good meeting,
Yeah.
so.
I think the only way to catch them all is if somebody was standing right at the door.
Sure.
You can't come in till you sign.
Sure. But anyway, very good.
And that's all I did, so. Anything further? If not, we will adjourn at 11:14. You wanna be an imposter this afternoon for me?
Sure. What do you do?
Talk on the friggin' TV.
Oh,